And I want to welcome everybody to another edition of Hoops Hidden Gems podcast. We apologize. We had some technical difficulties, and we are here. Everybody's up and going. We're all smiling. You know, it's just like the press. We had to figure out the press for a moment, and that press was getting us. So we had to halftime, and we had to go get the chalkboard and figure it out. But we are here, and thank you all for joining as usual. I'm your host, David Jones. Tonight, the recap from the Southeast Top 100. We have two very special guests. We have Coach Sid Johnson, and we have the incredible Coach EJ from up in New Jersey, from Prep Hoops as well. EJ and Sid, how you guys doing today?
Doing good, Coach.
Doing great.
Hey man, thank you guys for joining as usual. Like I said, we had this little small issue that set us back a little bit, but we are here. Man, we had the Southeast Top 100 this past weekend. Man, thank you guys for making the trip from Detroit and New Jersey. I mean, I appreciate you guys so much. There was so much good talent in the building. EJ, we'll start with you. What was your thoughts on the Southeast Top 100?
So it was my first year, and it's definitely safe to say that I will be back. Probably one of my favorite events that I've been to all year. I like the blend of talent because you had really high-level, nationally ranked talent there, and then you had some talent that maybe a lot of people have not heard of yet, and they were maybe looking to be discovered and put themselves out there, and I think they all did a really good job of that. I thought the talent pool was really, really top-notch, just from all around the country, you know.
I couldn't agree with you more. Sid, this is year 2 for you. What were your thoughts, Sid?
Oh no, Coach, it was awesome, and I saw some of the year-over-year growth for some of the players, and you know, particularly some of the guards. I saw the year-over-year growth, and it was really fun to see. You know, the future's in good hands.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. You know, I want to ask you both. I mean, we know the players that were top ranked, but I want to hear from both of you. What kids that you weren't aware of that stood out and kind of made a name for themselves?
Well, so, I mean, I can let Coach EJ go first. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's two that kind of come to mind right away. Jasmine James, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Aminata Sal.
Aminata Sal from Hamilton Heights. Yeah.
So those two, you know, maybe even one more, maybe also Tamia Tomlinson. Those three. I had never really heard of them before. The names kind of rang a bell, but I don't think I've ever scouted them in person. I don't believe I've ever seen them play. So it was really refreshing to kind of watch them compete against all the high level talent. Aminata, you know, specifically the way she kind of battled. I believe she's 6'2", 6'3". And it's crazy to say she was undersized, but you know, going against 6'6" and 6'7", she held her own. I mean, she just absolutely jumped out at me. You know, the way she crashed the glass, the way she was just so physical. She was one of my favorites. Tamia Tomlinson, probably the best rebounding guard I saw there, and probably one of the highest motors I saw. And then Jasmine James took a lot of hits, took, you know, really, really hard bumps, and I feel like she absorbed everything, and she kind of matched that physicality. So, you know, the harder the hits she was getting, the harder the hits she was giving. So I love that she didn't back down.
You know, and what I'm going to say for you, EJ, that's why I brought you guys down here. And the reason I brought you guys to Atlanta, like Jasmine's she's a name that's familiar in the Atlanta metropolitan area, but to the point of what you just said, like from a Northeast perspective, from a Midwest perspective, people don't know her like she has some D1 offers as well as a number of D1 interests. Her high school is probably about 15 minutes from where I live. So of course I'm going to know who she is. But on that national scene, you're known in the Southeast. You know what I mean? And that's why I thought it was important for you to come. And like that's what I love about this platform. Like, it's those kids that people have never heard of before. And even if they're heard of in their region, like we had kids this year from as far away as Utah, we had the Midwest, we had the East Coast, all the way up to North Carolina. Georgia is always going to be here. Alabama, Mississippi, Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, all over the place. And that's why I think it's next year. I'll probably bring a couple more of you guys because EJ, you have the East Coast, Sid, you have the Midwest. And of course, I have the Southeast, but it's giving these kids a chance to be heard. So Sid, who was the kids in your mind? This is year 2 for you, Sid.
Yeah.
So who jumped out at you? We'll put the household names to the side, but as we like to say, the hidden gems that you saw, like, hey, who was that?
Well, no, I mean, I really like the growth that I saw in Haley Holder, the young guard. Looks like she's just improved by leaps and bounds. I mean, she already had the quickness, but it looks like she has more command. And it also looks like she's more comfortable with her shot and setting up her shot. So I really like seeing her. Let me see. I like. Is it Nima Ibudini?
Yes.
I'm so sorry about the pronunciation. But I really liked when she gets out on a break. It is just. I mean, it's breathtaking. So I really like seeing her. I think I talked to you about a young lady who was the teammate of. The young lady who was a teammate, and I've forgotten the lady's name. Let me look at I have to look at the schools, coach. But the young lady who is also at Hamilton Heights Christian, is it Benitude?
No, from Hamilton Heights Christian. Yeah, so you're talking about Benitude. So, right. And the reason why I stopped you because there's a Hamilton Heights and then there's a Hamilton Christian. So gotcha. Hamilton Heights is out of Tennessee. So Aminata and Benitude and Kamora Moore all went to Hamilton Heights. Okay. There's another young lady, and I'll save that one for me. Is the one from Hamilton Christian I thought did a good job. But go ahead, Sid.
Yeah, no, I mean, those two, those two really stood out to me. I know only one of them is new, but those two stood out to me. I like the growth from Kiana Harvey. I like the growth from her. I have her more as of a hidden gem. She's definitely she definitely has some tools at the small forward spot and is able to just really get to her spot, good quick first step, and a really good energy defensively and getting out on the break. And so I like seeing the growth in her too. I've seen her play in the past too.
And the thing about Kiana plays with another guard that was here last year that you've seen. And now she's exploded. She didn't make it this year. She plays with CeCe Dennis. And Creekside won the 4A state championship here in Georgia. They went 32-0. EJ, you probably will start to hear of Creekside more because they're going to play a national schedule. They played somewhat of a national schedule last year, but because of CeCe, oh my gosh, like CeCe, she played last year and out of this world, completely out of this world. And so, I think that's why I like bringing you guys, because I look at this and, and Bobby, thanks for just chiming in. I appreciate you out of Louisiana. Bobby, I'm going to probably bring you here next year as well as one of the people to evaluate, because Bobby knows a number of the Louisiana kids as well. And some of them are his because he's part of Sci-Fair's program. So That's Bobby, where I brought up the comment for Rep Your City Hoops. But for me, it was Kayla. Oh my gosh, Kayla out of Hamilton. So that's why when you said Hamilton, I wanted to do the Louisiana one. Kayla Harding. I'm telling you, last year it was Peyton Dean that came out of nowhere, and you guys seen Peyton this year. She was number 29. Peyton has jumped leaps and bounds, and so Peyton is now considered one of our top players, whereas last year we were looking around like, okay, who's this? Where's she coming from? And there was 2 players from Louisiana, and I'm saying Louisiana because they bring a truckload of kids every year because they feel like they have a chip on their shoulder of something to prove. But Kayla Harding out of Hamilton Christian in Lake Charles, Louisiana, I like that kid. As a matter of fact, I have a D1 coach inquiring about her right now. And it's because of coming on this platform and never being heard of. And sometimes the word gets around that quick. But between her and the other young lady, oh my gosh, Madison's from Slidell. I love her. Oh my gosh, she's going to be good. And she's young too. And when I see those young ones like that, I'm like, okay, yeah, not only we inviting you back, but you're about to make a name for yourself. But there's sometimes when we have this show, it's almost like there was close to 100 there. We can't get everybody. And I don't want that. I want anybody to think that's a slight on any of you guys, because some of these kids stuck out more than others, but we all take notes between the 3 of us. And Madre, who is in the background listening, we all take notes. We all talk to coaches, and all of us have a different set of people we talk to as well. Some of us know a lot of the same people from coaches. Some of us know coaches that I may not know. Sid may know some coaches in the Midwest that I may not know. EJ may not know. EJ being on the East Coast, there's hundreds of schools on the East Coast, and not just Division I, Division II, Division III wise. EJ, there's probably well over 200 schools on the East Coast from a Division III standpoint, because that's where D3 originated, number one. And then NAI coaches. Sid, you're going to have a number of NAI coaches right there in your area as well. We have NAIs down here in the South as well, but Midwest is NAI country. So, and then from a JUCO perspective, there's not many JUCOs where Sid is on the East Coast. There's some, but like in the Midwest and down South, that's JUCO country. And for me, it's finding the right fit. I know all of y'all want to go D1. I get it. And there's nothing to where I want to say, I never want to crush anybody's dream, but it's really about finding the right fit, because you don't want to go somewhere just for the shirt, so to speak, and you're unhappy. And this is also about academics. When I did the introductory speech, you don't want to go somewhere that doesn't have your major just for the sake of you saying I'm playing basketball. You know what I mean? That's just right. No. I'm not going to advocate that, and I'm pretty sure Sid has his PhD, so I know Sid is going to be on the education side as well. And EJ, you're going to feel the same, because EJ, we sat there and talked for a good while. Like, when we talk about these kids and what we see, all of us bump into each other on the circuit, whether we're out at Run for the Roses, or EJ, if you're out at Hoop Group, or if you're out at Power 24, or if I'm in Adidas, or if we all are meeting up at Nike or Under Armour. We all are at Independent. We're all at some of the big name events. And then some of you guys like to go to some of the local events as well, just like I do. Like we have Live at Lake Point. Even though it's local, it's turning into something national. But a lot of times, as we all like to say, that's where those hidden gems are. Because, EJ, you said something big on Saturday. We know Jayla Forbes. For the people that don't know Sutton Villa, you know her now. But we know the Kimura Moores. We know them, and we appreciate them because yes, they're very good. And with them being very good, like them coming to the camp, yes, you guys are stars. You are solidifying that you are that person. But it's those kids, like we all talk about, like the Peyton Deans from last year, the Kayla Hardings. There's so many kids that we can name that we haven't seen. And I think it's amazing by just starting this segment like this. Like, EJ, when you said Jasmine James, people in the South would be like, oh, we know Jasmine. Well, yeah, we know her in Atlanta, but it just goes to show you, and I'm glad you said it, to be honest with you, because now it shows, and she plays for Team Hubbard on the Adidas circuit. So she plays a national brand of basketball, but she's not a household name outside of our region. And that's no disrespect, because Jasmine is very good. She has 3 or 4 D1 offers, but she's still considered a hidden gem, you know. And in EJ, I mean, not EJ, Sid, my gosh, with you being in the Midwest, there's a number of these kids that we're speaking about, because sometimes we get to the Midwest, you know, outside of Detroit, Chicago, like, of course, like Kentucky has some great basketball. Indiana has some great basketball. But sometimes we're getting out of those quote unquote large markets. Mm-hmm. So when we get out of those large markets, we start to bump into a lot of areas that are underserved. Hence, hello, Louisiana. Hello, Mississippi. Hello, Alabama. Hello, I mean, Sutton's from Utah. How many of us are going to Utah? And that's no disrespect, but there's some players in Utah, and she just proved that. You know what I mean? So, in looking at this, that's why it's important, you know, whether it's Run for the Roses or whatever national event it is, EJ, we all go to that event. There's 3 of us. We can't cover 82 courts. Well, this year was 88. We can't cover 88 courts. So there are a number of evaluators like us there, and sometimes some of those kids still slip through the cracks. As hard as we try to cover, you know, we could all be texting each other, hey, what court you on? Hey, what court you on? And we could get out there and say, oh, I'm on court 40, or I'm on court 75, or on court 80. Yes, we still get down to court 1 and 2, the EYBL courts, because you still want to see the big matchups. But our worth is seeing those kids that have never been seen before. Case in point, Emerald Parker. I saw Emerald Parker going to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, who's this? 6'4", grabbing all the rebounds and just incredible. And when I talked to the AAU coach, I was like, okay, how many offers she has? None. What? I said, oh, that's going to change. That's going to change. And then, you know, sometimes it takes coaches that trust us. And when I say trust us, you know, they know we're going to be out and about a little bit of everywhere. And, you know, I just look at this like this is so important. And that's how this came to fruition. This whole Southeast Top 100 is to give kids a platform that even though they play, you know, like a Louisiana United or, man, sometimes I'll go as crazy as to say this. There's kids on Alabama Southern Stars, which is EYBL, that is still people don't know about. And think about, and that's not, and let me be clear, that's not to say they're not doing a good job of putting them in great positions. That's not the case. I don't care if you're at EYBL, you're not going to catch every kid. I don't care if you're at Power 24. You're not going to catch every kid. And every coach, they're human too. They can't see 16, 18, 20 courts of really good competition. And then sometimes you'll have parents that feel like they're being slighted because, you know, they spent all this money and they feel like their kid isn't getting the exposure. That it's tough when you try and explain that, like, listen, there are a number of kids out here, and sometimes coaches have predetermined lists when they come to these events that they want to see that they're already recruiting. And unless you are that person that just stick out like that, And let me be clear, that doesn't mean you have to put up 45 or 50 points. You guys will agree with that as well, because so many parents have the misconception if they're scoring 50 points or 60 points, that's the only way they're going to get seen. I'm sitting there, EJ, you're sitting there talking to coaches. Sid, you're there. Coaches trusting you as well. I have a number of coaches that will tell me, hey, we're not looking for a score. We're looking for a rebounder. We're looking for a stopper. We're looking for somebody. We're looking for a floor general. So a lot of times that looks nice on paper, but they'll sometimes come back to us and say, we have 3 scores that are very good or double-digit scores. We need somebody that's going to play their role, because that's what college basketball is. You need to understand what your role is. And being your role, you may not be that scorer. You may be that person that is dependent on maybe just a couple times a game to shoot. You might be that 4th or 5th option, but you are just as valuable. I want to be clear when I say that. So, in saying this, yes, this is about talking about the players that we haven't, that we do know and don't know. But I just wanted to be clear when we have this show that I want you to get some of these misconceptions out about the exposure piece and what needs to happen for you to be that. Bobby's watching this, and Bobby could, he would definitely speak on that. He coaches Cy-Fair. EJ, you know Cy-Fair. I mean, they're well respected. They won the Nationals a couple years ago for EYBL, and I mean, they had Aaliyah Chavez 2 years ago. Everybody knows who Aaliyah is, but in the same sense, they got 11 other dogs as well. And those 11 dogs are still going D1, so they have to know their role as well. So if you understand that early, and some of those 11 dogs that weren't the person for Cy-Fair doesn't mean they're not going to go high major or mid major and become that person. You have to be able to be flexible to know what it is out here, to be seen, to understand your role. And especially when you're playing on, even when you're playing on those high level teams, you better understand you might not be the person that's going to be dependent on every night. Now, you may have your night here and there, which is good for when you get to college. Yes. But that's what makes basketball so pretty to me, because you have to understand your role. And if that team doesn't have a whole team full of players to understand their role, I've seen teams that are magnificent on paper lose. That's just what it is. And until the coach can get the players to buy into what it is, I mean, it's you got to understand what it is, man. You gotta understand. And as we go on, man, there were so many good players. And you guys agree. I mean, we were pointing at kids left and right. Who's that? I do want to bring up two other kids outside of Kayla and Madison.
Okay.
That young lady from North Carolina. Oh my gosh. The point guard from Fayetteville. Love her. Matter of fact, she's in my notes. I'm going to make sure a point to give her to love that she deserves. She was amazing. But to the point of what we said, she's known in North Carolina, very well known. She has 5 or 6 offers. I'm pulling it up right now. Forgive me for that. Oh my gosh. I was like, oh, I love her. And her coach recommended her to me. And I was like, okay, yeah, tell her, come on. I did my research. I was like, oh, well, I told him, I was like, hey, she's going to be pushed because we have a number of guards down here, very good guards. But she came down here and she lit it up. She definitely lit it up. I'm going to ask you guys both, and we'll start with you this time, EJ. The hidden gems, yes, but what were the players that you feel like, okay, this person's going to be good? Because there were some younger kids here as well. Who else on your list that really stood out to you?
Whew, there's quite a few. There was a player I remember, Journey Bryant. Don't remember the name.
Journey Bryant from Midtown High School here in Atlanta. Yes,
she was. She can definitely hoop. When she got out, in transition, and she got out ahead of everybody. I mean, it was straight to the basket. It was crafty. It was a Euro. I mean, I was like, wow, like who is this girl, right? I really like a player, Bryn Bricky, I believe her name is.
Yes, I spoke to her father this morning, and so you took Bryn. That was one of mine. Like I like, she's a tough, hard-nosed kid.
That's exactly what I said. Hard.
Yes. So, but go ahead. Like when you said, I just got excited when you said Bryn. I was like, oh, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, no, she stood out. I mean, like we both just agreed on, hard-nosed guard. She wasn't backing down from anybody. She went in and battled on the glass. I was surprised that she was as good a rebounding guard as she was, because I had never seen that. I was shocked. I was like, wow, this girl's pretty good. Amaya Harrington, Peyton Dean. I know you talked about Peyton Dean last year. I finally got eyes on her. There was a player, I believe it's pronounced Ayana Morel.
Yes.
She was.
Ayana is going. I'm glad Ayana's going to be. Nobody knows about Ayana. Ayana's coming from South Carolina, so they came. Ayana's a 4.5 GPA. So I'm going to. I see Sid shaking his head. We talked about the educational piece,
right?
And she only has a JUCO and a D3.
That's insane.
Thank you.
She was probably the most energetic player I saw. She never stopped. I mean, she just didn't stop. I was like, what did she eat or drink before this? She must have taken 50 Monsters or Red Bulls. She was like on fire. I mean, first one over here, first one back, rebound from the wing. I was like, God, she was doing everything. So she really, really stood out to me. Yeah, I mean, I could just keep going, but yeah, those few players I remember vividly, just because lasting impression. All the way on the plane ride home, I was thinking about those players. I was like, God, they were really good.
I think it's safe to say Ayana has increased her stock after this camp. And like you said, for her to be unknown, like in talking to her mom, she's still new to basketball. She's still learning. And I was like, oh. So again, we start talking about upside, like she has it. And there's so many other players like Sid. Who else? You both you guys put out a list on Twitter that you all, that stood out. Like you said, EJ, a number of these kids. So, when you tweeted out, a list of kids that stood out.
Mm-hmm.
Sid, who was it on your end that you were like, man? And like I said, even with this being year 2, like EJ said, Peyton Dean, caught his attention. Peyton she's establishing herself now. So she's no longer just the Louisiana product. And when I say that, when she came here last year and she battled some of the ESPN guards, who we were like, oh, now she comes back in year 2. It's like, okay, you that person now. It's established. You're that person. So now when she came, no offers last year. She comes this year. Now she has 4 D1s. And that's only going to keep going, as you all would agree. Like, yeah, she can play.
Well, as far as some of the younger players, I had Alina. I can't. Is it Mylord or Milord is her last name?
Oh yeah, Alina Mylord out of Milton High School, which is
correct.
10 minutes from me. Yes,
correct. I just really like what she brought to the table. And then some names that you guys may have brought up, but Melody Ashford.
Yes, Melody.
I know you got Zoe Williams.
Zoe's
you guys
here
mentioned
out of Marietta High
Peyton
School.
Dean.
She's a freshman and already
and
has
you probably have or are going to mention Madison Parker as well.
And so Madison, that's who I
Yep.
was talking about out of Louisiana, Madison Parker. Yeah, so
yeah,
she's establishing herself. She's going to be very good, very good.
Heck of a just a heck of a guard, and great work ethic. And it's just for me, it's the you have some guards that have some defensive intensity. I think that's probably the case for Zoe Williams, but also I had Addison Ivy down as a 2026 guard, but that has some defensive intensity when they play. I mean, they actually are steering. They're actually steering the dribbler. I know you guys did a drill near the beginning of camp, but they're actually steering the dribbler, making the dribbler make mistakes, try to make decisions too early while they're too far in the backcourt, causing turnovers. So you had about you had a few guards that were like that. Like again, so Addison Ivy, Zoe Williams, Peyton Dean. So just a number of guards. I don't want to go through my entire list, but I was just really impressed with the overall play and the fact that they were trying to play hard. They played hard until they got tired. Now they got tired of the last 20 minutes. They were tired, but they played hard until they got tired. They played very hard.
The young lady I mentioned from North Carolina, I wanted to make sure I definitely give her flowers, was Jadea Blake.
Okay.
Yeah, Jadea Blake out of Terry Sanford in Fayetteville. Listen, I like her. I really like her. And Coach, thank you. I want to say thank you for sending her. And he sent two. And both of his players you players from Terry Sanford, you are welcome to the Southeast Top 100. Like, both of them played very well. I'm definitely impressed. And I want to be clear because I don't want nobody to feel a type of way. We can't get all 100 of you guys. Like, we have you all in our notes, but the show was only going to be 45 minutes to an hour. So please, I don't want nobody to feel slighted. When we see people, we put them in our notes. We have the roster, so we have all of you guys. All of you guys were very good. There wasn't one person that I saw and I was like, she's overmatched. And when I say that, like, a number of these kids, and I want to go back to my earlier speech when I first started, almost all of you guys are all region, all this, all conference, all this. And you came to this platform, and it's not that you didn't do well, but you all quickly see, and I'm glad some of the parents acknowledged it as well. Like, even some of the tweets that went out, like one parent said, and I have to respect him so much for saying this, he was like, there's some monsters out here. He was like, but he was proud of his daughter for competing. And when he said it, it was spot on, because I agree with him. When I saw his daughter, I was like, okay, she's not, when your own parent acknowledges, like, hey, there's some absolute killers out here, but his daughter was hard-nosed, tough, the whole nine. And we see that. We pay attention to that. Like, EJ, you said it with Bryn Brickey. Like, yeah, Bryn was one of those kids. Like, okay, she knew when to pick her spots. Like, we saw some kids, and, it becomes no-brainers. Like, when we see a Kimora Moore, like, everybody knows who Momo is. Like, Momo is nationally ranked. She's one of the best guards in the country, almost regardless of class. And so for us to sit up here and focus on Momo does a disservice, because unless you're living under a rock, and if you don't know, you've probably seen the whole Twitter campaign of her doing her thing. So for us to evaluate her, coach is going to be like, I know her. So that we don't add value when we talk to coaches. Like, hey, have you seen Kimora Moore? They're going to be like, who hasn't? So it's those kids that, like the young lady from like Jadea from North Carolina. Obviously, she's well known in North Carolina. She's one of the top guards in the state.
Mhm.
That just goes to show you, like, we don't know everybody. Like, we can hear of, but until we actually lay eyes, and I was like, oh yeah, she real good. Like, there's so many good players, and like I said, we leave these events. Like this conversation right now, we probably come back, man, I missed such and such. She was really good. She was really good. She was really good. You just can't get all of them and understand, like, all three of us have our list and we're like, oh yeah, that one. Or when coaches ask, did you see anybody? We're going down our list and saying, you're looking for a small forward. Take a look at this one. Take a look at this one. I think it was it Sid that mentioned Jordan Avila?
Yes, I believe so. I think I know she's on my list. I know that much. Hold on one second.
Jordan Avila she's a young one. She's young. She goes to one of the powerhouse schools here in Atlanta, Hebron Christian. You all know Hebron.
Yeah.
Her time is coming.
She's an eighth grader.
Yeah, her time is coming. And you can see, like, you're like, oh, she's moving like that in eighth. Oh, no, okay. All right. I'm going to see you in the future, young lady. I'm going to see you. But I'm going to bring a name that I love. And I talked to the parent probably about 2 or 3 days before the event. And I thought this one, it kind of stuck with me a little bit. She played for Essence. We all know Essence is EYBL.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think she's right at that fringe. But she played very well. When I say she's right at that fringe, I love the thinking of her parents. It was Miley Butler. She's from South Georgia. So Miley is a 2026. And talking to the dad, and listen, I didn't catch the dad's name, but his thinking, I applauded. Like, okay, he played EYBL. And a lot of times, I'm just going to give you guys the story of how it works here in Georgia. A lot of times when you get outside of Atlanta Metro and you start getting between Atlanta and Macon, or just east of Atlanta, way before you get to Augusta, there's a lot of kids that fall through the cracks. Whole bunch. So unless you come to Atlanta, unfortunately, unless you're 6'7" or 6'6", they're going to come find you then. But there's a lot of kids that, and if they don't come here, and I'm not saying the world is fair, but they fall through the cracks. So I talked to him for about 30, 40 minutes a couple days before the event. And he was like, yeah, there's some D1 interest, but if it's a good fit for D2, he was all in. Man, I looked at my phone. I wanted to say, boy, you don't know how much I enjoy hearing that, because I can speak for here in the South, the Peach Belt Conference and the Gulf South, Conference of the Carolinas, the SAC, the Sunshine State. Those top teams in those D2 conferences will beat a number of D1 schools, a number of them. So when we start talking about quality basketball, and in those conferences, if you make all conference, they're waiting for you to jump in the portal because they're going to take you. They're going to take you. So you have to have a good mindset. And I'm not, of course, everybody wants to, every kid wants to go D1. Every parent wants to say, my kid went D1. But a lot of times I like to ask, what's the end goal? Because a lot of these kids in D2 get professional contracts. And to get a professional contract, you have to have a resume. So, and if you don't have a resume, I don't care if there's D3 young ladies that play professionally as well, and NAI. So I want to be clear when I say that. I ask what it is, because some kids and some families will approach me and be like, well, we want to go here because she wants to be electrical engineer. Well, hey, makes all the sense in the world. That means you're looking past basketball. I applaud that. So, but it's with the understanding that if you go here, you know, that team may be loaded and you're okay with being a role player that has a diminished role because your focus is on academics. I would always applaud that. Always. You know, I'm not too crazy of going someplace just because, and when this is over, and the reality of it is, and you guys are going to agree with this, in these 4 or 5 years, it's going to be over. And so, yeah, there's coaching opportunities, a bunch of opportunities in the basketball world, yes, but you have to be able to move on with life. And that sometimes scares me as well, because we'll have people 20, 30 years from now still holding on to the past. But I don't want to get into that. Sid, who was it that you felt was the biggest stock riser?
I liked now we haven't mentioned her yet in this show. I think I like what Sophia Lewis Pierre.
From Galloway here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, and so I didn't know her resume coming in because I'm in a different region mostly, but I don't know. I just like what I saw. I just want to make sure I mention that particular name.
No, so Sophia, again, you're in my backyard, so yeah, Sophia is very good, very good, very good school, a Hall of Fame coach as well. So she's getting the best of all the worlds at Galloway. I fully expect for Sophie to be. I could see her easily being an Ivy League, but I don't want to limit her ceiling. And I say that because of the type of school she goes to, the type of student she is. I can see the Ivies drooling all over her. That's not to say she can't go mid-major plus, but I'm thinking the way her family is set up, I can see that. I can see a Harvard, Princeton, Yale type deal. I can see that.
Okay. And you were saying stock risers, so you're saying maybe they came in and didn't have as much push, and then maybe after contests like this they rise a little bit.
Yes.
I may not have mentioned Addison Ivy's name. I thought that maybe she was in that area where she's showing what she can do. She's showing more of what she can do now. So that's that's another name. Again, maybe not somebody that you were thinking is going to be the superstar of the region, but certainly I'm just liking what I see as far as some growth and showing some things. So yeah.
Okay. EJ, stock risers.
So you just mentioned her name a little bit, and I had notes on her, Miley. Also. I thought she just got better and better as kind of the day progressed and the games went on. I feel like she found her shot. Her three-pointers were falling, as the day went on. I think everything just started clicking. She really played hard from beginning to end, and it's so easy to get tired. Because it was such a long day, and they had, some training sessions before the games and then jump into all these games. But she really showed no signs of like exhaustion or being out of it. I really loved her game. Shanna Simeon, I believe it's pronounced.
From Louisiana, yes.
Yeah, I thought she executed so well. One word that I use to describe her is coachable. And it's because every time during timeouts when they gathered, you would just see her head just pop up, and she was so locked in, listening to everything that, coach was saying. She went out there, and I feel like everything that was supposed to be executed, she did. I feel like she just did everything she was supposed to do. And then, of course, I touched on her already, but Ayana Morel from South Carolina, I believe.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
she again just stood out to me so much, and I believe that she's very, very underrated.
Yeah, and so the thing about Ayanna, and I think you guys caught this, that she's, tough, grindy rebounder. But when I saw her step out and start knocking down 15 and 24, I was like, okay. I'm going to use an NBA comparison, and you guys might laugh at this one. Shawn Marion.
Okay.
Wow.
Shawn Marion. And I say that because of her shot kind of being unorthodox, but it goes in.
Mm-hmm.
It goes in. So as me and my good friend Madre Allen, who was, the director of operations for this, he came up with the name, and I was like, Matrix. He said Shawn Marion, and I just said the Matrix after that, and we both laughed because sometimes when we're watching these events, we compare the NBA and WNBA players as well, and I thought that was a good comparison. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to step out and say this with no problem. She's going to have a number of D2s after her, a number, because she was 6'1", 6'2", with a 4.5 GPA. That I can't say this enough. Having those type of grades, and people will take a chance on you. Number one, you can play. Number two, you can see the development, because the mom was like, she's still learning how to play. She just started playing. I was like, what? I was like, oh, yeah. If I was a coach, which I have no desire to be a college coach, but if I was a college coach, I would probably bring her in and redshirt her freshman year. And we're going to develop, and hone those skills that she already has. And by the time, the way the NCAA is set up right now, I'd bring her in, let her play 8 to 10 games, so she plays only 20% of those games, and redshirt her. I would redshirt her. And that's not saying that's a slight. That's excitement right there to say, listen, I want you to see what this is. Let you get your feet wet, and then we're going to go back in the lab so you can understand the speed, the difference in the game from high school, because I fully expect by this time next year, you are going to be close to being an impact player.
Coach,
that would be me.
Yeah.
Coach, how has Kaylin Landry as a two-way
from Wheeler
player.
High School here in Georgia?
Yeah.
Yes,
just smooth operator on one end, and just a two-way player. I mean, lanky enough to be a 3-and-D if she wants to, but she's got some tools with the ball. I feel like I feel like she's coming into her own. And again, better than me about where her position is right now, but I just think that she's I think that she's showing out well for herself right now.
Just to give you guys a side note, that's Jasmine James' teammate.
Oh, there you go. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's her teammate.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So, and Wheeler is it's so, and I'm glad you guys. Atlanta is loaded with basketball. I'll be the first to tell you that. Like, she's just started. Like, she's very good, and she's just starting to get the notoriety. Like, Jasmine's been very good, but now, I've been saying it for a while. Like, I'm like, hey, she's going to be good too. But now people are starting to say, hey, who's this? I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, but unfortunately, Wheeler's in a killer region. If you guys even understood the region that they're in, it's even tougher because they have ESPN kids in that region, okay. all up and down. So it's going to be hard for her. And I know this is crazy to say, just to make all region. And that's not a slight at saying that, because of how loaded that region is. Okay. That's Marietta, like McEachern. Those are all like powerhouses. Like, they have to fight just to be one of the top 4 to go to state. And that team is up and coming. And let me say this: the coach has done a tremendous job with that program. But it just speaks to the importance of when you're on teams like that, well, not teams like that, when you're in a region like that, you know, of course, a lot of coaches unfairly will say, well, are they on a good team or this, that, and the other? Unless you're in Atlanta. So like you two not being in this area, you wouldn't know that. But now you go to a camp like this and be like, hey, who's this? Mm-hmm. Now, I fully expect Wheeler to be one of those top 4 teams in their region this year. Like, no, they're going to be good. But this is important because I feel like she's coming in saying like, hey, I'm that person too. Okay. I'm that person too. And without me having to say or point out to you guys are saying that I think it's a good thing. But yes, we have Georgia kids that are hungry as well, that they're trying to get on that stage. So I don't want you guys to think, oh, it's only just the out-of-state kids. Yeah, they hungry too, because some of them are coming from rural areas where they don't get that many opportunities unless they're on a really good AAU program.
Okay. Right.
For myself, the stock riser, we talked about it. Man, what would you all say if Journey Bryan only has Jackson State?
Wow.
She only has Jackson State. And listen, Jackson State, you guys were smart. Mike, you know you my guy at Jackson State. Coach Richards, I love her to death. You guys were smart to be first. You guys were smart.
Absolutely.
She came and lit it up like she was the talk of camp. Like they were like, who's this? I was like, well, you know, she's a transfer. She's at Midtown High School now. But now people are like, no, she can go. I was like, yeah, she can go. She established herself as and she's a 27, y'all. She's a 27. So she got another year after this one. So in my mind, I feel like Journey is going to be the Peyton Dean of the camp from last year. Where if she comes back next year, she will be very well established. Mm-hmm. There are just so many kids, but like, yeah, Journey I was like, oh, she lightened it up. Mm-hmm. But there's so many kids like that. I feel like after what they had now will only boost them going into their high school season. There's another person, and she came back as a second-year person that I definitely wanted to definitely shout out. She's out of Mississippi, you guys. And I made it a point, EJ, to point her out to you because I looked at her. If she was 5'11" or 6'1", or you know what? Let me take it down because then we'd be talking McDonald's or in there. Malia Marcellus out of Northwest Rankin in Mississippi. She brings something so different. Her defense, I love this kid. She Northwest Rankin actually came to Atlanta this summer and played in the team camp that I hosted. I want to give this story because it was incredible. I promise you guys, this story was so. They drove 8 hours, got off the bus, and played. And they played one of the top teams in the Atlanta metro area, Cherokee High School. They're going to be very good as well. And when they first came, like I asked the coach, I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" Because she asked for the smoke, and I gave it to her. So she got off the bus. They came in, and they had probably about an hour, maybe hour or so or less before the game. They jumped out there, and Cherokee jumped on them 29-4 before she called a timeout. And in my mind, I was like, oh, my gosh, they're going to get ran out the gym. I was like, I did something terrible. She called that timeout, got in her team's behind. They came storming back. They lost. They lost at a shot with 3 seconds left in front of a gym packed with people. And I say that because Malia Marcellus, she played well at the Southeast Top 100 last year, but her leading the charge of that team coming back, and then they turned around in their second game and beat one of our state champions. They played that team plays incredibly hard. And I had D2s like, I like her. I want her. Now, you all are going to understand the politics of this. She's smaller. She's about 5'4", 5'5", in that range. But when I say she is a dog on defense, like me being defensive minded, I want her. I want her. And very quick, very agile, very capable to knock down the three, but it's her defensive game that really sticks out. And when I just wanted to shout out Malia, because I look at her as in a number of those Mississippi kids, like they're in the underserved market. Like they're so like once I start meeting her AAU director, and I was like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? And I'm like to you guys' point, like, why haven't I heard of this person? And they're saying, man, that's what we come to certain events like this for. And I was like, you keep doing that. Absolutely. Keep doing that. And her high school coach, same way. I applaud when you have AAU programs that work like that can work together with high school programs that are all working together to make it happen. Definitely applaud that. Like, that young lady is going to get an opportunity just because what her high school and AAU coach do. And definitely, because you don't see that. Unfortunately, we see AAU programs and high school programs sometimes don't even get along. They don't even get along sometimes. And I'm not saying that's the case, but, you know, it does happen. But that young lady is going to find the opportunity just because she has such a strong support system. And I applaud that 100%. Is there anybody, let's get into the meat of this. Is there anybody that you saw, you'd be like, oh, she's a sure shot? I'll start with you, EJ, on this one.
Ooh, oh my God. I think, where do I even go with this? Because I have to narrow it down here. So, because I'm just gonna start saying all the names. We talking bigs or guards or what are we talking?
Have it your way.
The best of the best that I saw, or what do you think?
You know what? We'll save the best of the best. We'll start with bigs. And since Madre likes to tease me all the time, he says I have an affinity for the bigs, but we'll start with the bigs. Who were the bigs that really caught your attention?
I mean, I gotta say 6'6" and 6'7", right? I mean, I gotta go there just because that was the first matchup of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the whole time, just focused. I mean, and it didn't disappoint. I mean, those two, Jayla Forbes and Sutton Villa, just put on exactly what we expected them to put on and why they are two of the best. That was impressive. But going back to Aminata, going back to her, I feel like she held her own, and I feel like she more than held her own, and just made a name. If she didn't already have a name for herself, she certainly made that name for herself.
EJ, let me stop you real quick, and I'm glad you just said that. Aminata has Austin Peay.
Wow.
Do we think it's safe to say within the next 3 to 4 months that won't be the case?
Yeah, no, she'll have more than that. I mean, she's a handful to say the least. There's no way that she was going up against 6'6" and 6'7" and playing to their height. She wasn't playing like she was 6'3". She was playing like she was just as big, if not bigger. She was grabbing rebounds over them. She has, a nice little leap to her game, and she's definitely going to be piling up the D1 offers. I can absolutely say that with confidence.
I agree. Is there anybody else that caught your attention from a big? I want to say because we guards we all going to have to pretty much divvy them up because there were so many good ones. Yeah,
there were a lot of guards. I think those were that come to mind Anyway, those were the main, I think, ones. I'm sure I'm forgetting a ton of them because I had so many notes that I can't think of them all now. But I think those three really stood out. Diop, her last name. What's her height?
Bintu Diop. So I like to call her Scottie Pippen. She's 6'1".
I was gonna say, is she a 6-footer? Okay.
Yeah. So she's more of a wing. But when I saw her, she's like a track star. Like,
I was gonna say she just floated. It was fluid, getting up and down, and that mobility allowed her to defend inside and out, and play inside and out. So she was doing it on both ends, perimeter and in the post. So I love that, and she was zooming.
And Bintu's a 27.
Yeah, she was fluid with her movement for sure.
So I fully expect when I see Bintu, like, I feel like she's going to have a breakout season. Again, I always like to keep you guys abreast of what it is. So you got Aminata Sal, Bintu Diop, and Kimora Moore on the same team.
Wow.
Oh.
They all play for Hamilton Heights. So yeah, they play a national schedule, so you'll hear a lot more of them. Definitely hear a lot more. That's I just wanted to keep y'all abreast of what type of team that is.
That's a really good 3 right there.
Definitely. Sid.
No. It's
you feel like was like, yeah, that's a sure thing there.
I mean, it's again, as far as bigs, the same 3 bigs that you mentioned. I really liked Aminata. I just think that as her game as it matures from the perimeter area, and then as she increases her reliance on her offhand, I think she's going to be something else. Because even with just raw skill, she was to me, she stood out. So I like the same 3 that you were talking about. And then if you're talking about guards and if you're talking about the future, then I like Peyton Dean. I think that, I mean, it was just so easy for her to score. I mean, it just make the game look easy. Like she just it just looks like it looks like the game is too easy for her. She looks like she could just really just really play and get a quiet 25 whenever she wants.
It's funny about what you just said with Peyton.
Mm-hmm.
I think she is lethal in that 2-man, that pick.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you've seen defenders try and cheat, a mistake, complete mistake. Like they try and go under, you're leaving her wide open. Go get the ball off the net. They're like, and that's what I love about like these type of camps, because you don't know, you haven't scouted these players, so you don't know what's what. You're only going with what you know. And when you're going with like you're like, oh, this is getting ready to come. Sometimes I've been taught to do this or I've been taught to do that. But when you have players that have an elite bag like that, they're like, oh, no, you're not. And I can speak that because I know her trainer. And, shout out to Marcus Wonzai. Like, I know he trained Jada Rashard. And so with him training Jada Rashard, I see the same thing he's doing. Yeah. Like I feel like I've been privy to this, like, I've seen this show before. I'm looking at the sequel. I'm looking at the sequel. And she's a 28, just to let you guys know. She's a 28. Okay. So with her being a 28, y'all know. Y'all know she's going to be good. And again, in an underserved market. But with Marcus making it his business to bring those kids to Atlanta from Louisiana, he brought 7 of them. So in bringing that, I always hats off to him because, he could scream till he's blue in the face to me and say, hey, there's kids here. There's kids here. Like Marcus, Bobby, Joe Ely from the New Orleans area. They screamed this to me. Hey, we got kids. We got kids. Like Joe was the one that put me in front of Shakai Dunes, who came last year. Now, you know who Shakai is, EJ. You know who she is. You know,
Yeah,
when
talk,
she first
talk about
came,
people that just look easy. It just looks easy.
yeah, you saw her last year.
Yes.
You saw it. She was out
Very
there killing
effortless
folks.
game. Very effortless game.
Yeah.
But it's those type of kids that this platform now, and let me be clear when I say this. Shakai was Shakai, but outside of that region, she was still outside of Cy-Fair putting her on like that. Yes, she went to a good school, but she transferred to DME. With her transferring to DME and playing for Cy-Fair, that's the first thing I said, it's game over. Now she's 44th in the country now. You know, so it's getting people to see those type of kids and be like, that's a killer right there. That's a certified killer. And then when they come to these camps and people like, I love it because so many young ladies and parents came back and was like, there was some really good competition here. And some of these young ladies you are going to see at the next level at Power Fours, at mid-majors, you're going to see them in the NCAA tournament. And, you know, I'm just going to be smiling like, yeah, she was there. She was there. She was there. Because I feel like we're doing our job to give, especially the ones that haven't been seen. And for myself, I get to smile even more because when I get to cover D2 games or broadcast them, some of them will come up and, you know, give me a fist bump or a hug and say, thank you. I'll be like, listen, no, thank yourself. Thank yourself. You took advantage of an opportunity and you ran with it. And that's all this is supposed to be about. Give an opportunity. What you do with it, what you do, whether you go home and say, I need to improve, or you come home saying, I did well. Don't rest on your laurels. Because now when I spoke to Sutton Villa's mom, she asked me how it went. I said, she did very well. I said, but Sutton has to understand now, Sutton is no longer that person that is hunting. She is being hunted now. People are going to try and make a name off of her.
Right.
Because it's their opportunity to say, hey, I played against one of the top in the country. And Sutton's home, she's so mild-mannered, so laid back. You know,
yeah.
I told mom, I was like, listen, she's going to have to understand. She's going to have to come at some folks. And I'm not saying that as being a bad thing, but you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, people are going to do anything against her now because they want to be seen. Like, they feel like this is their time to shine. And if they can give it to her, and it's going to be sudden, no matter who it is, you're going to have to kill him.
Yeah.
You're going to have to kill him.
Yeah.
Like, Jayla Forbes, and she's a year older, so it's a little, she didn't been through the ringer. Like, so Jayla, no, I'm going to kill you. I'm not, I know what this is. I've been through this a couple of times. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, she has, my gosh, 36, 37 offers. So it's not about Jayla coming to this camp and saying, look at me, or, I'm trying to get on. No, she's coming and saying, I'm the one. I'm solidifying I'm the one. You know what I mean? And anybody that gets in the way, okay, fine. But no, I'm going to show you there's levels to this. But to my point, a person like Aminata Sal, like you both just pointed out, she came into this camp like, I'm going at you. I'm going at you. I'm going at you. I'm going at you. Because this is my time. And I love that. And I've seen it over and over. And I'm sure you guys did too. During the day, there was some chippiness. Like some of those young ladies were like, you're not better than me. And maybe they didn't say it to that person verbally, but they were trying to show like, I'm just as good as you or better than you. And they're trying to let their play distinguish that. Okay. EJ, what wings stood out to you?
Well, I mean, I got to go back to her for maybe third time, but I believe Ayana is a wing, correct? Is she? Would you say?
It's going to depend on her development. I feel like she's a stretch 4 right now.
Okay.
I feel like she's a stretch 4 because what?
What do you think she'd be in? What do you think she'd be in college though?
Depends on the level. If she stays D2, she's probably going to be a 4 or 5 if she stays D2. Now, if she goes up, we're talking about Yana Morrell, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, boy, it just depends on where she goes.
Okay.
To be honest with you, I'm going to say this. I don't want nobody to jump on my head on this one. Like, she has just a D3 and a JUCO offer right now. I'm sure that's going to change. Sure. I'm sure there's going to be D2s like, who is that? Where is she? How can I get in touch? This is where it gets tricky, and both of you are going to understand this. She came out of nowhere. So you're going to have a slew of D2s and possibly some D1s, some low D1s come. The D2s are going to probably be on her ultra heavy because with D2s, a lot of times they stack their scholarships with academic money and athletic money. And with her being high academic, that in itself is going to elevate what she did this past weekend. Her situation will be interesting because you all will understand what I'm saying here. She's D2, no question, but she could sneak into a D1 late. Now, we're in a time with the transfer portal. I wouldn't recommend that because that waiting late could turn into April, May for that. In my mind, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do or not to do. For a person like that, and she's still developing, I would take that D2 route, play well, and then if it gets to the point where you're a D1 prospect, they're going to find you. Like if you're dominating D2, especially in the areas she's at, like you got the SAC, you got Sunshine State, you got the Peach Belt, you got Conference of Carolinas, you got the Gulf. Those 5 D2 conferences in itself, if you're all conference there, your phone is going to ring. That would be mine. Listen, we're just talking. I'm not saying that's what you need to do. That's what I envision in my mind that will probably happen. Because like I said, right now, we're not even talking D2s right now. D3s is out there like, can we lock you up? As they should. Like, because they get that. That's a thief in the night coming in. Outside of maybe, EJ, you'll feel me out on this one, especially with our grades. Outside of NYU, then I'd be like, oh, okay, well, they haven't lost in 2 years. So that's different. Like NYU can beat a number of D2, 70% of D2 teams and some D1s because they're that good. But it's a high academic. They're in the UAA. To be honest, if it was that, Coach, if you're listening, I know we talk on a regular basis. That would be one I'd be like, okay, 4.5 GPA, like, because we're talking academics, and then Mom was like, how much a precedent she puts on that. In my mind, I'd be like, that's not a bad fit. To be honest with you, like, it just depends on what the family and the kid wants, but I wouldn't rule that out. Me personally, I wouldn't, but there'd be, EJ, like, there'll be PSAC schools that would love to have her. Like, there's so many options for that young lady as well.
There was one more that came to mind as you were talking. I mean, Amaya Harrington.
Yeah,
without a doubt. She was really, really good at the camp.
So it's funny you mentioned that when we start talking to Amaya Harrington, Coach. I know you up there just smiling away because I know you're watching. So that is Jadea Blake's teammate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
out of Fayetteville, Terry Sanford.
Okay.
So again, recommendation. He came to me and was like, I got some kids. Okay, let me see what sent them down here. They came. I won't say they came and conquered, but they came and did very well to the point we're talking about them. And I feel like Jadea is already established. Like she has 4 or 5 D1s, and that list is going to grow. But Amaya, I feel like she established like, yeah, there's going to be some D1s on that line. There's going to be some D1s that even from a North Carolina standpoint, North Carolina A&T, North Carolina Central, UNC Greensboro, UNC Wilmington, the Elons, College of Charleston. Like she fits all of those right there. I could only fathom South Carolina State would be like, absolutely, yes. Coppin States, like those type of schools, all up her alley. Campbell, all of those schools, I could see that being a good look for her. I'm not too privy on what her recruiting situation is, but no, I could definitely see that. Sid, wings.
I still I mean he mentioned a couple people, Amaya Harrington. He mentioned Amaya Harrington, but I also wanted to bring up Jordan Avila. Again, I still think that I don't know, man.
Are we calling Jordan Avila the future? Because he's a 2030.
Yeah, I mean she's okay. Look, I have her listed as a guard. Okay, but I mean she can do some grown type things in terms of competing inside, and it looks like she really wants to dominate when she gets the ball, make quick moves, decisive moves, score right away. And I don't know, I just really like her game. So yeah, so I'm gonna say Jordan Avila being another wing to think about.
There's a wing that I feel, and she came last year, but I feel like she has jumped leaps and bounds, and I think she is basically saying, I am here now. Me and my good buddy Madre, like she came last year, we have a nickname for her. We call her Baby Russ in regards to Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
High energy. You guys got a chance to see her for the first time this year. She has added that jumper with very much. She's so confident now to go with the athleticism. Cayenne Senior out of Marietta High School. Man, let me tell y'all, that young lady has improved. Cayenne, salute to you. And whoever you working with, you keep working with them. You're probably working with Nick more than likely, who was the head trainer at our event. You're probably working with Nick, and whoever it is, I can see it. Like she's now turning herself into. And I talked to her head coach, Derek DeWitt at Marietta High School, and we've had a number of conversations. Like in Derek's mind, he feels like Cayenne is a D1 prospect. Derek, I think you're right. I think you're right. Like, and he has some killers on that. So again, I always like to give you guys the backdrop. So Zoe Williams is on that team with Cayenne. But they also have the DeWitt sisters. And I'm sure you all know Leah DeWitt and Alana DeWitt. They're on that team as well. So that lets you know what type of team that's going to be. So Cayenne is now starting to like, those are 3 more than likely D1 prospects. The DeWitt sisters, absolutely. Zoe is young, but she already has an offer, a D1 offer.
Wow.
And she's at 2029. Wow. So Cayenne is that one. Like when I talked to DeWitt, like he was like, that was his feeling. If this was last year, I'd have been like, well, she still needs to develop. We'll see. Now, and she's a 27, so she has another year after this. Like Now she's getting to the point like, yeah, I see it. And when we threw out the highlight of her, I had a couple coaches like, who's this? I was like, man, she's improved leaps and bounds in the last 365 days. Now we're talking about, DeWitt, you were right. Salute to you. You were right on that. She has that potential. I could easily see a number of, especially the low D ones, like, yeah, she fits our mold as a wing. And she's so athletic. She's high motor. Yes, absolutely. Here we go, EJ. The guards. Pick your poison on that one.
I mean, are we talking some maybe the best I saw, or some up and comers, or
you know
what
are we? We're gonna have to break that down because there were so many good ones. Let's start with the up and comers first.
Okay, so I believe this was my first time seeing Peyton Dean.
Yeah.
So I know you talked about her a little bit, that last year she was kind of like the big breakout, and this year she was already kind of solidified. But it was my first time getting eyes on her, and I thought that she surely stood out. That was obvious. And I mentioned her before, but I really liked Bryn Brickey. I just really liked what she was able to do, and I really liked Miley Butler.
Miley.
Miley is the one I mentioned before, that as the day went on, her shot got better and better. Her 3-point shot got better and better. Those are
your up and comings.
Yeah.
Okay. Hold the thought on the rest of them. Sid, your up and coming guards.
Let me see. There were a couple of like floor general types.
Okay.
At the camp, and I think one of them EJ put as one of his people on one of his articles. Toby Owolabi.
Yes. So
she just really took command of her teams. Really wanted to receive the ball against full court pressure. Really wanted to organize her team. Was trying to tell everyone, how we can win this game. We don't need shots this quickly. We need to control the basketball. So just that leadership. So anyway, Toby, also. Let's see. Is it Anaya Southall? Southall or South?
Yeah, Anaya Southall.
Yeah. I mean, that's another person that was controlling the game from her position. But again, the guard overall that I really wanted to watch. I keep on telling you guys Madison Parker. I know I keep saying it, but that's a guard, that's
Louisiana product.
Yeah, it's just the want to that she has. And we all know that Peyton Dean already talked about how she kind of floats on top of the game. But Madison Parker is kind of that fire to Peyton Dean's ice. She just really wants to be good, and so as her handle continues to improve, she's gonna be something else. Gosh, Coach. Coach, I'll let you go. I'll let you go.
I got one more that I can't.
Go ahead.
I can't leave this pod without mentioning her. Okay. Paris Wilson.
Okay. Paris is a 29. She's a 29.
I thought she was maybe one of the most vocal players at the camp. The help defense was clicking. She was calling things out. She was calling out if a teammate was about to run into a screen. She was communicating. I really liked her, and I know she's a youngin' at 2029, but I really liked her potential. I just loved her ability to, effectively communicate with their team and be vocal and call out plays and execute those plays. Like, she's not just calling things out, she's looking to execute every single play. And I love that. And the commitment to defense, it was a two-way game. Yeah, I really, really liked her.
Okay. I got two. And one we haven't even mentioned at all yet today. One we have and one we haven't. Alexis Hammock. Alexis Hammock. Alexis is from she played for Kentucky Premier, but she's from Knoxville. Yeah, she's from Knoxville, Tennessee. But Alexis, pretty much what we said about the other young ladies, like, she likes to pick and choose. She knows how to play her game. Like, camp ball, a lot of times I like to say this. There's some players that are meant for camp ball. There's some players that are meant for school ball. There's some players that are meant for AAU ball. And as evaluators, we have to be able to decipher what is what sometimes as well. When I look at Alexis, put aside her pedigree, she can play. And her IQ is what really stood out to me. Like, she wasn't out there, because sometimes when we get into camp settings, it becomes individualized. And with it becoming individualized, some people won't stick out as much unless you're really following them. I feel like Alexis is the ultimate. She'll know her role no matter if it's camp, AAU, or high school. And I think that's what makes her a good addition to any program, because if you want her to go out there and get 20, she'll go get 20. But if you want her to go out there and get her teammates involved, or she has to sit down and play D, yes. Then I'm going to go with my floor general. She's been, one of you guys mentioned her. I forgot which one of you guys mentioned. And she has improved leaps and bounds. Shout out to you, honey, because I see you. Haley Holder. Yeah. Haley Holder. Yeah. She came last year, and I feel like Haley is improving so much. Like, some of the people that came to the camp last year, they mentioned it to me. They was like, man, she's gotten a lot better. And that handle is very good. Yeah. Very good. You're not just running up on her and taking the ball, because number one, she's quick. She's aggressive. She plays D. What I like about Haley is what we just said. She's a floor general. So if I was a big, or if I was a wing, that's the type of point guard I want. And, that's going to distribute like that. And, she's going to be a good college guard, because she's going to see what other people don't, and she's going to be that extension of the coach. And let me say this as well. I feel like Haley is going to be a high academic D1, because she's a 4.1 or 4.2. Okay. And I feel like she's just scratching the surface of those high academics, seeing what she can be. But when I look at Haley, I feel like America East, Patriot League, Ivy, Furman, those type. I feel like that's who needs to be dialed in, And I'll say this as well, and because I don't want to ever discount, like, yes, all of those, but I can see Haley doing the other route. And I'm not saying it's always preferred, but I can see Haley, if she had to go high D2 and do her thing to get that, I could see that as well. But I think it would be crazy to sit up here and say, number one, because you kids that have that 4-point plus, you're going to have opportunities. It's just a matter of which school is going to say it. But you're going to have opportunities, because they want you for more than just basketball. They want you for more than just basketball. So you guys that are 4-point plus, your phone is going to ring at some point. It's going to ring. I mean, whether, again, they want you for more than just basketball because it makes them look very good as well. So those are my two. Those were the up and coming ones. EJ, what about, you know what, before we go any further, Momo, forgive me, Momo, you don't count.
Oh,
yeah.
Momo, you don't count.
Oh man.
Yeah, Momo, I love you. Greg is my guy. You don't count. We could sit up here and talk all about you, but you're that already. You're that. So again, I feel like that's unfair, and it's not unfair because her reputation, is well deserved, but you don't need us. You don't need us. So, yes, you're all that in a bag of chips. There's no question about that. Thank you for showing love, but you're that already. So, us sitting up here talking about you, any coaches that are watching, they'll be like, that doesn't help us. We know her. But, EJ, who is it that you feel like who do you feel like has turned that corner? And this is your first time, so feel free to mention anybody that you feel like you didn't know about, but is that person.
Yeah, this is, I think, kind of easy for me. Stephanie Mobley.
Stephanie Mobley from North Carolina.
And it's that integrity on both sides of the ball, really, that kind of just it did it for me. Her commitment, just to like whatever the assignment was, whatever coach was calling, consider it done. She was going to do it. And the three ball, really nice pop on the three ball. Again, communication on defense, just really crisp rotations, and I feel like she understood the assignment on both ends. Like she knew what she was doing, and she just went out there and she got things done. So yeah, it was definitely her for me.
Okay. Sid.
Coach, I'm running out of cards, man. I'm running out of cards, but I don't want to play. I don't want to keep on saying the same person's name over and over.
Okay.
And you took more because I was gonna make sure that we didn't forget her, but
we'll never forget. I mean, no, we'll never forget that name. No.
Yeah, and this year I didn't see as many bigs. I didn't see as many taller guards like when you had Munchie last year. That could just do everything.
Oh, Munchie was she couldn't make it, so out of precaution, we made sure that she didn't play. Like Munchie just got over an injury, so Munchie would have been there. That's my buddy. What up, Munchie? She couldn't make it, and that's out of precaution. But you saw Munchie last year. Like when you see Munchie, you're like, oh, who that?
And now I just compare everyone to her, and it's not fair. It's her. You see someone great, and you're like, well, but you're not 6'3" and doing that like Munchie. So anyway,
you've been spoiled.
Yeah, so I don't. Coach, I don't want to keep on picking the same names. I want to give respect to. I just want to just make sure we continue to give respect to Momo, because I also saw Momo at a tournament in Tennessee that they have in October, and she turned out that one coming out of 8th grade, and so I'm just saying don't forget her, but I'll let you give us the final spoiler.
From a guard perspective, we've mentioned a lot of names. I'm going through my list right now. That I just want to make sure I don't miss anybody. That I gave the love to Haley. I don't want to miss anybody. I'm making sure that as I'm going through my notes right now, you guys mentioned somebody, and I think it was EJ that mentioned her. The Simeon kid.
Shanna.
Yeah, the Simeon kid. I something about I feel like these type of situations really help players like her.
She was hungry.
Yeah. But and so let me expound on that a little bit, because I feel like she's under recruited. And with her being under recruited, I don't want to place a level on her, but I think we all agree that she's a college basketball player.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and it's kids like that I want to continue to mention. Like, I mentioned earlier, Malia, that, they call her Mimi for short. Like those type of kids, like this is what, because let me say this. Yes, we have the Momos of the world. We have now the Peyton Deans of the world. We have the Journey Bryants of the world. We have the Cayenne Seniors that are exploding onto the scene. But it's those kids like the Mimis, the Shannas, the Jerissa Davis's kids. Those type of kids. I feel like, yes, this camp is good, but it's also to give the platform for those kids. When I look at Jerissa Davis out of New Iberia, I feel like I want to keep watching because I want to get it right as to what level she is. When you got a kid that's a good kid, good academics, hence she got the $500 scholarship because I felt like that was a good fit, because I feel like she's going to be a kid that gets athletic and academic money. So I always want to put up where we talk, like we feel like that scholarship is going to be a good look for her. But it's those type of kids that are a lot of times brought in front of me, whether it's a phone call, a DM, or email, or text, whatever the case may be. When I see those type of kids, it makes me like, man, this is a student athlete that this platform should be helping, because it's bigger than basketball. Like I see her being a very successful person. You guys understand, like when we watch college basketball and when they become 4-year seniors and when it's senior day or their last game, they come out for the last time, they give their coach a big hug because they had a great career, but it's already established that they have their internship set up or their job set up. That's going to be her. Now, at which school, I can't say, because I want to make sure I get that right. But I love those type of stories. And, I feel like it's worth mentioning as well. As we wrap this up, now, EJ, who was that player for you?
I mean, can we talk Momo, or is she still not
Yeah, of course. I mean, if you're talking players,
the two are good. It's definitely Momo, and I'm not going to elaborate on that because we already know why. So, and really, I don't even have to elaborate on this next one. But Jayla Forbes. But what stuck out to me about Jayla Forbes is not what everyone probably is expecting. You expect pounding, the paint, 1,000 rebounds a game. Like we all know this, right? You expect the really hard screens that if you run into her, you're going to be out for a month with a concussion. Like we know that. It was her ability and her willingness to shoot the 3 ball.
Let me say this. Her shot, when I talked to her mom, I said it. I was like, I don't know what's been going on, whether it was Essence or Mount Verde or whoever it was, her trainer, her shot has improved big time.
Absolutely.
over
And,
the
I mean,
last 12 months. Big time.
It was clear as day. I mean, she made a 3, and I said, 6'7" making threes. This is not going to be good for the rest of the world because I mean, that is really, really scary. Like we talk Asia Wilson at 6'5", shooting threes consistently now.
Yeah.
Add 2 more inches to that, and come on, and she's bigger. No, that's a big problem for everyone else. But you know, and it wasn't just that she made 1 3. It was that she kept shooting them, and she kept popping from 15, from 18 feet. She actually, I feel like she shot more from outside than she did under the basket, and I was just so impressed by that. I was so impressed by her confidence and her ability to recognize that she has a shot, and she needs to take that shot. She can absolutely develop her game into being a stretch 5, you know, and that will just take her to just a whole nother level.
So before I go to Sid, who do you feel has helped themselves the most?
Bigs, guards, or
your call.
I think I'm gonna say Tamia Tomlinson, and only because it's that damn motor. My God, whatever she does to energize herself, she needs to share with me because she never stops. She never stops, and it's annoying for everyone else that they have to deal with that. Like a player that is just all in your face on defense and is all over on all, you know, that's the type of player you want to be because that's pesky, it's annoying, and you know, players don't like to play against a player like that because they're flustered the whole time. And again, I think she was the best rebounding guard that I saw. She was soaring over 6-footers and you know, talk about helping yourself you know, with energy like that. I mean, come on.
Okay. Sid.
Well, he took Forbes, and so I'll take Sutton Villa.
Okay.
I know that she's developing. She's developing as far as being the one to deliver contact first, and then get her shot off. But I think her tools in the mid range, it's going to be unfair once she builds up a little bit more, builds up her body a little bit more, because when she gets bumped on the mid range, she's still going to make the shot, and then she'll be able to be a hub at the at the high post or something like that. She'll be able to be a hub, you know, either dribble handoff or fake the dribble handoff and turn and deliver on the backside, or get her shot off or one-on-one. I mean, she'll be able to do all that. So I'm just really excited about, you know, what we can see from her as she can continues to develop physically.
Okay.
So that's the name I'm really looking for. And then the person that helped himself the most, I'm thinking Aminata. It's just she can do a lot of things, and she's she's multi-tooled, and she has a motor. I've talked about her earlier in the show, and I'm just putting the exclamation point on it. She is going to be she's going to be special as she continues to develop her skill set.
So I want to fill you guys in on something. Again, I've said this early on the show. I like to compare sometimes some of these players, sometimes either NBA or WNBA players. Aminata is Zach Randolph. She is Zach Randolph.
Aminata to me is Anissa Morrow.
Oh, I like that. Yes, but you know, I like the Anissa Morrow comparison because Anissa's motor is like, Anissa was undersized, to your point of what you're saying with Aminata. Like, I know it's crazy to say 6'3", you're undersized, but she is so, like, she's so good at using her body. So I like what you just said. I said Zach Randolph because of how she used. I like the Anissa Morrow comparison because she's so efficient. And when you say that, like, it's like, man, if you were 6'6", oh my gosh, you know what I mean? If you were like the prototypical now, 6'6", but it's 6'3", which he can do with her. But I said Zach Randolph because he was the master of using his body. And that's why I made that. I always liked it. Basketball is basketball. So whether it's Anissa Morrow or Zach Randolph, but no, that was a great one right there. But when I look at her, like, I feel like in leaving, I said that young lady just helped herself 1,000%. She just helped herself 1,000% because you went against Jayla Forbes, you went against Sutton Villa, and you showed like, no, I'm one of these people too. And for all three of us to see that, and coaches and people to see that as well, I agree with that. There's another person for me, and we've talked about her, Journey Bryant. Journey Bryant is what Peyton Dean was last year.
Gotcha.
I fully expect Journey's probably going to take off this year, and for a number of reasons. With her transferring to Midtown, and they have 2 college prospects as well, and now she's that missing piece for Midtown. They're probably going to make a deep run in the state, and she's going to be able to show why she is that. No disrespect to the school she was at before. I feel like it's 2 things. Like, she's coming into her own now, and she's going into a situation where they're probably going to make a deep run into the state playoffs here in Georgia. And when you do that here, you have to play smoke. There's no hiding that here in Georgia. You're going to have to show I'm that one. And when you do that on this side, and she's a 27 on top of that, I think it's safe to say she's probably there's some more offers coming her way in the future. I think it's safe to say that. You guys mentioned Aminata. You all mentioned Jayla and Sutton. Who else I think helped himself immensely? Sophie. I think Sophie really I love her shot. I love the whole background with Sophie, being a high academic kid. I feel like she really helped herself. And let me say this. When I say Sophie helping herself, Sophie was already good. And people here in Georgia knew about her. But EJ, like, you and Sid got a chance to see her for the first time, and now you guys are putting a name with this person and be like, oh, who's that? I feel that's why that helped her immensely. There's one person we haven't talked about, and I feel like I wanted to mention her before we got off. And I say that because it was interesting. When I say interesting, she comes from a small town. And I get it when you're coming from small towns, you don't get, the love that a lot of people like to look at. And it was just so interesting to see her going. She was chippy because it was I feel like I belong. And I felt like she belongs as well. And it's the young lady from Louisiana. She's from Peabody High School. And I think, EJ, you saw her as well, because I think it was her and Paris that were going back and forth, and it was chippy. But when I say chippy, let me be clear. It wasn't chippy to where punches were going to be thrown. It was a competitiveness to be like, I'm trying to show everybody I belong here as well. I know she went to Peabody High School. I'm looking, and it's killing me. Because I wanted to mention her. Here it is, right here. Here it is. Michaela Jones. Michaela Jones. With the afro. And I felt like it's those type of kids. You know what? I'm going to do it again, and I'm 100% fine with this. Patrick Beverly.
Oh, okay.
Because I say that like she's trying to do anything and everything to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm going to get on your nerves, if I'm going to hustle, I'm going to I'm from a small town. Nobody knows about me. I feel like I'm overlooked, even in my own state. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I always want to mention those type of kids. And I'm not sitting up here and saying, oh, she's a bona fide D1. What I am saying is she's a college basketball player. And those type of intangibles, somebody is going to take you. Now, I can't say if you're going to have to take the long road, whether it be JUCO to get what you want. I'm not quite sure on what her grades, if she's high academic, I don't want to say that, and I don't know. But what I'm saying is those type of players with that grit. I just want to mention we see it, and your opportunity is going to come. It's definitely going to come. In closing, is there anything you guys want to say? I know we're going up on close to 2 hours, and I'm fine with that. But your takeaway, and Sid, I'll start with you. Your takeaway on the camp.
Well, I really like to. Can you hear me? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I really. Obviously, I really like the camp. I really liked how hard everyone played. Again, I told you guys about when they got tired. But as far as them playing for the first hour and a half of gameplay, it was they were on fire. Everyone's hair was on fire. And as long as you continue to add, the educational piece, because everyone is curious about either NIL or everyone's curious about what can the colleges offer and when. And so everyone's kind of curious about how that goes, and everyone's kind of worried about getting offers and then the offers disappearing because conditions change, that kind of thing. So and what it's like with the transfer portal. So continue to have the education piece, and they're bringing it, and you're picking the right people, you're picking the right trainers and everything else. And so I really like the camp. I really like the way it's headed.
Appreciate it. EJ.
Yeah. I think really purpose fulfilled when it comes to the camp, because the players who maybe didn't have a name or weren't notable players, not ranked, not this or whatever, could come out of there saying, I really played well, I got looks, I got noticed, I went up against these great players, I held my own. And for the players that came in that are top ranked players, came to compete against other top ranked players. So you did a great job bringing in, just the talent pool was excellent. I thought it was well balanced. It was great. Players from all over the country, so many different states. I think the coaching was impeccable. You had some really hard coaches that pushed the girls, and it just felt like it was just a highly competitive atmosphere, and nobody was walking around to say, I don't belong, or like with their head down. I think that the competition level was just great. So A+.
Hey man, number one, I want to thank you guys. I mean, I thought it was important to have people like yourselves at this event, because I'll take it from my good friend in Louisiana that he wants his kids to be seen, and even like EJ and Sid, we talk, and we keep in contact and all of that. It's more than just me to say, hey, this kid can play. Hey, this kid can play. But when the committee starts saying this kid can play, it hits different. Like, yes, I appreciate every coach that trusts me, but there's coaches that trust Sid. There's coaches that trust you, EJ, as well. And when the committee starts saying, yeah, she bona fide, now the people that are watching is like, okay, she must be something. And it's not, how can I say this? It's not oh, he's being biased towards her. And that's not the case for none of us, because there's no skin in the game for us to be biased. You know, it's just what we see. And, you know, I want to start off by thanking you guys, the trainers. Listen, it's funny you mentioned that. All of those trainers have college experience, AAU experience. I could go down the list of those are some of the top trainers in Atlanta for the most part. And all of them have a resume of developing kids very well, and they have connections as well. So I thought bringing those guys in make it, you know, I like to call them the all-star team of trainers. And there's more trainers in Atlanta that are very good as well. Some of them had scheduling conflicts, so they couldn't do it. But to your point, I wanted to make sure all the way down to the athletic trainer. I want to shout out the athletic trainer. You know, when the young lady went down, she was right there. And, you know, fortunately, she wasn't hurt. But all of that plays a big role in this. And shout out to Sewanee Sports Academy for hosting us, you know, as well. A beautiful 7-court facility. You guys didn't even know we only had a half of it. Yeah, there was 4 courts on the other side. They had something else going on over there, and we only needed 3. But shout out to them. Shout out to my guy, Madre Allen, like, you know, the director of operations. Like, this doesn't go without him. You know, as much as we talk about team, I can't do this by myself. There's no way I can do this by myself. Shout out to the table staff that was awesome. You know, all them got them checked in a great time. You know, we didn't need the whole hour to check everybody in. You know, they got them in and out. You know, I got to show them love. You know, anybody that just supports this platform, you know, I look at this just like basketball. We want to make this on the level of Wooten 150, CP3, John Lucas. Like, Southeast Top 100 is, we want it on that. And I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, in Bolster, we there. But I'm going to say we're competitive and we can be in the same breath. But I think for me, that sticks out. Like, those are prestige. Yes, this is prestige, but my heart is helping those kids that we talked about find a home as well. And that's where the difference is. So, yeah, your Kamora Moores, your Journey Bryants, that their play is going to speak for themselves. But, you know, the young lady from South Carolina, you know, the young ladies from Louisiana, and I want to say this as well before we leave. Anybody that didn't get mentioned, do not take that as a slight. Well, there's no way we could have mentioned close to 100 kids. We do have you in our notes. And when coaches call and ask us, we can go down the list and say, hey, take a look at this kid. So I understand every parent and every kid wants to hear their name on this podcast to feel validated. I don't want you to think you're slighted because we see you. A lot of times when I tweet, I end it with a hashtag, you never know who's watching. And when I say you never know who's watching, you never know if EJ's watching. You never know if Sid's watching. And you guys bring such a different array of talent. Like, Sid, you are the master of watching film, bro. Look, you make me tired with that watching the film, bro. Man, I applaud what you do. You and Chuck with 5 State Hoops. I appreciate what you do. The game needs you. EJ, brother, like, I'm going to say this as well. Like, you know, Sid, you are valuable. EJ, this is your first time. You know, this won't be your last time. Well, you know, you're considered part of this as well. I mean, for you to, you know, Sid, you pay attention. Like, we have been in so many of the same places before we even met each other, but it was a respectable admiration for what we both do. Like, you know, I watch what you do. You watch what I do. Same with you, Sid, as well. You know, all of us are watching what we all do in this field. And it's an admiration and respect. And I'd like to say that, like, you know, I respect and admire both of you guys for what you do. And you guys do an outstanding job. And I'll be the first to give you both your flowers, man. Definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And same to you.
So, yeah, man, I appreciate you both, man. And, you know, you guys keep putting on for the game because you guys do an amazing job, and you have my support, and you have my support. It wasn't about, oh, you don't come to this event, I don't support you. Like EJ, I didn't even know you at first, and you were just watching. And one day, people just start blowing up my phone. You threw out a tweet like, you know, thank you for what you do. And you didn't even know me at that time. You know what I'm saying? So when I say it's in respect and admiration for the work is the work, plain and simple. The work is the work. And all these kids need people like you in this game to continue to push women's basketball forward, you know, high school, college, WNBA. Like, man, you guys keep doing what you're doing. You guys are doing an excellent job. Excellent job, man.
You too, Coach. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you all. Man, that's going to wrap it up for tonight, September 12th, 2026. Southeast Top 100.
Let's go.
Date's already there. We're going to make it happen again. We will see you guys again next year. I want to thank you guys so much, and we're going to wrap it up. And again, this is only the beginning for a number of you guys. I can't stress there's no slight to anybody for not being mentioned. Parents, do not take offense if you were not mentioned. That was not intentional. Understand that we do see you. I want to stress that, and to keep working, because at some point you're going to be seen if you stay the path. And as Sid would like to say, and all of us as well, if you take care of them grades, it will work itself out. Because if you don't, you're going to lose opportunities. I can't stress that enough, where I've had coaches come to me and be interested in kids, but they can't take them because they don't have the required GPA or possibly the required test score. Do not cut yourself out of that. And I want to harp on that. And I mean it. Like, we can only do so much, but when you get to the table in front of that coach, you need to have your qualifications in order, or you're going to miss out. You're going to miss out. And I just don't want that for any of you all. I want to see all these success stories. I want to see the committed edits of you all being proud of yourself for making it to the next level. We want to see all of that. And just don't limit yourself. And even if it is a situation where some mistakes are made, I also want to say this as well. Don't discount JUCO basketball either. JUCO is the second chance to get yourself right. And sometimes it's not even from an academic perspective. Sometimes it's still for you to develop to get to where you're trying to go. So I don't want people to have the stigma attached with JUCO, oh, your grades are bad, because that's not the case. It's not the case. And whatever path it is, whether it's JUCO, D3, D2, NAI, D1, heck, USCAA, NCCA, follow your dream, follow your passion, and just be happy. And, you know, so you can look back in 4 years to say this was worth it when you're graduating, hopefully. That's going to do it for tonight, man. Thank you guys so much. We will see you guys again in 365 days for another wrap-up.
Thanks, Coach.
Definitely.
Thanks, DJ.
Good night,
Thanks, DJ.
guys.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.